Hello everybody and welcome back to the last video in my first robotics programming series. In this video we're going to finish up our commands.java file and connect our commands to the controller input to have a finished robot program. So if you remember in the last video we started our commands.java file by making all of our commands for the ball delivery subsystem. So now where things get a little bit more complicated is when we talk about our hatch delivery. If you remember from earlier, I mentioned there's a pretty complicated process that we use in order to grab the hatch panel off the wall. It's kind of like we want to have a whole bunch of these instant commands running in a row. And luckily there is a way to do exactly that. So I'm going to return a few times here and make a new command, public static final command. I'm going to call this one grab. And this command will automate the entire process of grabbing a hatch panel and will still only require one button to start this whole sequence. So how exactly do we make a sequence of commands like this? Well, what we do is called a sequential command group, like this. And now inside the arguments to this, we can put as many commands as we want, and it will run all of these commands in a row sequentially, like that. So to grab the panel, the first step that we need to do is close our grabber and extend it out. So first, to close our grabber, this is pretty easy. We just create a new instant command where we type robot.hatchDelivery.closeGrabber, like that. And then this will use the hatch delivery subsystem, just like that. And the next step is actually to extend the subsystem in order to grab the hatch panel. Now, earlier I actually skipped over the extending portion of our hatch delivery because I said it was a little bit more complicated, and it actually uses its own command here. So we're going to have to go into our hatch delivery file in order to quickly add those commands. So now that we're inside our hatch delivery class, we're just going to make a couple of easy commands that will extend and retract this extender solenoid. So we'll make some methods to get those. So public command get extend command. And so this will actually return a command object that we can use, and make sure we import that. So this will just return extender solenoid dot extend command. And so our floatable solenoid class that we've already created has this extend command built in for us. And in the exact same way, I'm going to make a retract command. And then instead of getting the extend command here, I'm going to grab the retract command. And so now we've allowed the rest of our robot to use these extend and retract commands on our subsystem. So going back in here, we wanted to extend our subsystem. So we just call robot.hatchDelivery.getExtend command there. And so if you remember, all the arguments to this sequential command group is just a list of commands. So since this function is returning a command for us, we can just call it here and move on to the next step in this command group. So now that our subsystem is extended, we need to go into the next phase, which is to enter the float mode and allow our subsystem to be pushed back and detect the wall. The first step of this is to get our extender into the float mode, but we need to wait until it's fully extended all the way first. So in order to do that, we're going to wait until our limit switch gets pressed. So first we need that command that will somehow wait until our limit switch function will return true. Luckily there's a command called the WaitUntil command that does exactly that. So we'll say new WaitUntil command like this. And this actually takes in a Boolean function here instead of a void like this one does. So we'll just say hatchDelivery.getLimitSwitch. And then again we need to put in our subsystem here that this will use. So this command will actually wait until this robot.hatchDelivery.getLimitSwitch function will return true. And then we can put our piston into float mode by creating a new instant command. And inside this we'll be calling robot.hatchDelivery.floatExtender, like that. And then one more time we need to write our subsystem name again. So what this will do is we're extending our piston, waiting until it's extended all the way, and we know it is because of our limit switch, and then we're putting it into float mode. And so our next step here is to detect when we're pushing against the wall and then open our piston. So in order to detect when we're pushing against the wall, we need to wait until this limit switch function returns false, which means that our piston has been pushed back in. So we can actually copy this line here, paste it, and just put the little exclamation mark here, and that will just wait until our limit switch is no longer extended. And then we can open our grabber and grab the panel. So this is going to be similar to this top line here, where we closed the grabber initially, but now we're going to be calling the open grabber command like this. So now we're at the point where our robot has grabbed the hatch panel, and we want to pull the hatch delivery subsystem back into the robot. So first, I actually want to wait a second just to make sure that we've actually successfully grabbed the panel. So to do this, we'll use what's called the wait command. And in this command, it actually just takes a certain value here in seconds. So if I just put 0.2, I think that will actually be enough time because this grabber opens pretty quickly. So now we have our wait command, and the final step is just to retract our subsystem back into the robot. So this will be done in a similar way to our get extend command up here. I'm going to copy paste this and use get retract command. And then we can delete this last comma. And so there is our grab command. And sorry, I made a little mistake here. This wait until command actually does not need the subsystem argument here. So we can take this out, we can take this out, and then that should be working for you. Now, I'm not going to walk you through the process of our release command because it's basically the exact same as this, but instead of opening our grabber, we're actually closing our grabber in order to leave the hatch panel against the wall. Alright, so I've just made our release command quickly, and it's basically the exact same, but instead of having close grabber and then open grabber, I have open grabber and then close grabber. So other than that, it's basically the exact same, and we finished all of the commands that we'll be using on our robot. So now that we have all the commands made, the next step is to actually connect them to controller input, and there's a couple ways to do this. The first one is called a default command. It's something that we attach to each subsystem, usually in the constructor. A default command is exactly what it sounds like. It's a command that's always running unless you specifically call another one instead. This new command will interrupt the default command for a sec to just do its thing, and then when it's done, the default command will resume as normal. So the first subsystem that I think could use a default command is our ball delivery class. So what I think it needs is that launch command that we created over here, which calls the power method based on the controller, and this method should be running by default. We always want it to shoot or intake a ball whenever that controller is activated. So in order to do this, we go into our ball delivery in the constructor, and we just say set default command, and then here we actually pass in the command. So I'll say commands.launch. And so this means by default, when we move the controller up or down, that will shoot or intake a ball depending on the direction. And so any of our other ball delivery commands, like our toggle pistons that would raise and lower the subsystem, would actually pause this and then do its thing, so it would raise or lower the subsystem, and then go back to activating this default command where the controller would be used to move the motors. I also want to create a default command for our drivetrain. So let's go back into our commands file here, and I'll make a new command, public static final command drive command. And this one is going to be a run command as well, because we always want this command to be activated. So we're going to put in our brackets here, and we're going to call our robot.drivetrain.arcade drive method. And if you remember, this one takes in a driver controller as the input, so we're going to pass that in. So robot.io.driverController, and this is the IO class over here. And this is earlier where we just made instances for our driver controller and operator controller based on the ports. So now going back to our command here, we have our drive command that will be repeatedly calling our drivetrain arcade drive method based on the input from our driver controller. And then the required subsystem would just be robot.drivetrain. So there we go. We have our default drive command here. Now we can go into our drivetrain, and in the constructor just say set default command commands.drive command like that. And so this means by default our robot will always be able to be driven just by moving the driver controller joystick, which is exactly what we want on our robot. Now, the other way to have our commands connect to the controller input is by making them occur when a button is pressed. So these are for things like our grab and release commands on our hatch panel. We don't want them to be running all the time, just when the operator, for example, specifically wants that command to activate. So in order to do that, we're going to need to go back into our IO class like this. And this is where we can assign buttons for individual commands. So first we're going to need to create our button objects. Let's start by making our grab button. So these are all going to be an instance of the JoystickButton class. This one is going to be called grab button. And I'm going to make this equal to a new joystick button. And so for this, you first need to put in the controller and then the button number. So I want this to be the operator and then robot map dot left bumper. So this means that when we press our left bumper, we're going to activate this grab command. And then I'll also make one to activate the release command. So in the exact same way, I'll call this one release button. And then for this one, I'm going to use the right bumper. Now let's make some buttons for our ball delivery class. The first one I will call toggle pistons button. And this one will just toggle the pistons and raise our ball delivery up and down. So I'll make this one new joystick button. And again, it'll be on the operator controller. And this one, I will make the A button. And so all of these constants here, you can see we put in our robot map class right here. So we just have different constants, one for each of the buttons. And you could always type these numbers in individually if you want to, but I think it's a lot more readable if we have something like this where you can clearly see what each number actually represents. So back into the IO file, I'm going to make another button here called ball delivery reset button. And this one is going to be equal to new joystick button as well. And again, it's going to be on the operator controller. And I'm just going to make this one the select button, like that. And so you might be wondering, well, why don't I have a launch button to shoot it? And the reason is because that is the default command, so we actually don't need to create any buttons for it. It'll automatically be happening by default. And then for the same reason, we don't need to create any buttons for our drivetrain either. Now, the last step is to connect these buttons to their respective commands. And so we would normally do this in the constructor, which I'll make right now. And then this is actually fairly simple. We just say grab button dot when pressed commands dot grab. So we just call the when pressed method, and you just need to insert your commands like this into the arguments. We'll import that quickly. So in the exact same way, release button dot when pressed commands dot release. And just as a side note, you can actually do things like when released or when active, so that you could do maybe a command happens when you release a button, or a command repeats as long as you're holding a button. You can do some more fancy things like that, but for now, we're going to just stick to the when pressed here. So we'll say toggle pistons button dot when pressed, and then here we're going to put in our toggle pistons command from earlier. And then finally, our ball delivery reset button. When you press this, it'll activate the command dot ball delivery reset. And then we'll save this. So there you go. All of our commands here are done and linked to their respective buttons on the operator controller. And we've also created default commands for our ball delivery subsystem and for our drivetrain that will happen without any kind of button needing to be pressed. So, believe it or not, we've actually finished all of the code for our robot program. Make sure you save all your files, and then when you're done, you can press Ctrl-Shift-P again, and you should be able to find a deploy robot code option. There it is right there, and you can also press the shortcut Shift F5. And what this will do, if you had a RoboRio connected via Wi-Fi to your computer, is it would build your robot program and send it over to the RoboRio so you can run it using the FRC driver station program. And that's all we need to do to create a complete robot program using Java. And obviously we've only really been looking at the basics so far. There's so much more that you can do. For example, with commands, you can make an autonomous command for your robot. You can use different types of sensors like ultrasonic sensors and use those in your commands as well. Or you can even use camera devices and use some vision processing into your robot programming. So there's definitely a lot more you can do with this, but if you followed along, great job. We created our first complete robot program using Java. So thanks for following along, and I hope you enjoyed these videos on first robot programming in Java.